but you guys signed a veteran defensive lineman today. What was the thought process behind adding?
We just wanted more competition inside. You know, I've played against Derek a number of times over the years. He's been a good player for a while. We wanted to see where he was at now, along with those other guys, and we thought he had the lead in the workout, and he's got 10 days to show us he deserves to be on this 53-man roster.
What's the status of DeForest Buckner and his ankle?
He's going to be practicing today. I know he's limited, so we'll see how much he can do.
Jimmy Ward going to practice today?
Yeah, he's the same thing, limited also. So be off the pup, be allowed to go out there, but definitely going to take it easy with him.
Is the expectation to try to get him into Sunday's game?
Of course we would like to, but I have really no expectations for that. We'll see how he looks today. I'm hoping we do a little bit more on Thursday, and I think we'll have a better idea after 2 practices.
Are you excited to get him back just to kind of start having your pieces in place as you roll towards the regular season?
Oh, yes, of course. You know, Jimmy's a good player. Did a real good job for us in OTAs at our middle third safety. Was really excited to get him to camp here. I know it hasn't gone the way he's wanted with his unfortunate injury. I know I'm excited. I think everyone's excited, and I know he is. So look forward to getting him out there today.
Paul noted that how sharp Hoyer has looked in practice. Has there at all been a difference with him in the games you've seen so far, or have you seen the same kind of thing?
No, I've seen the exact same thing. You know, it's about opportunities. You know, I feel in the first game, I can't remember exactly, but I think he had 3 passes maybe. I forget. It wasn't many. I know he went 2 drives of 6 plays. So in the second game, you know, I was disappointed with the turnover. But you know, the opportunities he had, he went to the right spot with the ball, and made pretty good throws. So hopefully we get him out there a little longer this week and get him into a rhythm where he's got a chance to play a little bit more.
Diagnose what it is that's keeping your run game out of the rhythm that you want it to be in?
I mean, you'd have to ask me which play it's on, but I think, you know, we ran the ball fairly good in the first week. I think we had like 180 yards rushing or something, and it was real bad in the second week. You know, I think anytime you only get 40-something plays because you're not doing good on third down or because you're turning it over, the run game's not going to look good. The run game's about wearing people down, going on drives, getting calls in. You're never going to just go out and run for 7 yards a carry because you're getting 7 yards a carry. It's going to be getting 1, getting 2, getting 1, getting 2, and then getting 14. And the more you can do that stuff, the more your run game's going to look good. And I was pretty happy with the end result from Kansas City, but versus Denver, I feel like we never got a chance to get it going.
How are the rookie running backs looking at pass protection, Kyle? Are they?
It's still a work in progress, like all rookie running backs. That's usually the thing they struggle with the most. Some of them are better than others. I know we got 3 rookie backs, and they're all competing pretty hard. And there's lots of phases to running backs. You know, who runs the ball the best, who protects the best, who's the best in routes in the pass game, who can help us out the most on special teams. So there's a bunch of factors that go into running backs, how they win that job, how they get a part of this team. And I know there's a good battle, not just between the 3 rookies, but also the other guys in that room.
I wanted to ask about a national story. There's 16 different groups got together today to protest it. NAACP has now requested an audience with the NFL to discuss his situation. Are you surprised that he hasn't been signed this offseason? Do you feel like he's being treated fairly?
Yeah, I only can speak for ourselves. You know, our situation. You know, when we looked into re-signing Colin, it wasn't about any of that stuff. It's the direction we wanted to go with our offense and with our team. So not in our case. I can't speak for anyone else. So.
Talk to anyone else in the league about this situation?
No, yeah, I don't talk to many people anyways, and when I do, it's not about gossip. Usually, it's just about X's and O's, or that's about it.
Thanks.
You guys decided who's going to be off the bench?
No, we haven't. It's going to depend how this week goes.
So they'll keep alternating evenly during the week?
Yes.
Circling back to something you said about the running backs, with all the different things that go into play. When you have a guy, maybe on offense or defense, who is performing well in preseason games or in practice in those areas, but maybe hasn't shown as much on special teams, do you go out of your way to try to give them more reps or get them more opportunities in there to get a better evaluation, knowing that that's maybe their way to the roster?
Yeah, I mean, most of the things that we do in a preseason game is because we're just trying to figure things out. You know, there's certain guys that we have a good feel of, and there's certain guys that we don't. And there's certain areas that we're not sure because we can't replicate it the exact right way in practice, so we have to do it in the game. There's some things that we can replicate in practice, so we don't even worry about it in the game. So we put other guys in those situations. I think special teams is one of the toughest things to replicate in practice because, yeah, you can be physical, and especially through training camp when we have pads on and everything, but we're not tackling, we're not taking people to the ground, and especially when you get offensive guys who are playing special teams. You know, most defensive guys do know how to tackle, especially at this level. Offensive guys aren't always that way, and they're not going to show you that they're good tacklers in practice because we're not going to risk getting one of our guys hurt. So those are the guys that you really got to get opportunities in the game on special teams.
So a guy like, say, Kendrick Bourne, who goes out and plays well on offense, do you say, okay, we want to see you as a gunner more maybe than just because, just realistically, numbers-wise, that might be his only way to make the team?
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, you know, you're on average usually keep about 6 receivers. I've been places where you go 5. I've been places where you go 7. Same with running backs. I've been places where we've kept 2. The norm, I would guess, is 3. I've been places where we've kept 4. So you never know how it's going to pan out. It's a lot easier to say this guy's our best receiver, this guy's our second, this guy's our 4th or 5th. But who's going to be up on game day? And just because he might be your 5th best receiver, just speaking hypothetically, is he going to be up on game day? Does he help special teams? We don't go 5 wides very much, so ever. We could, but but you don't think of it that way. You know, it's if you aren't one of those top guys, if you aren't number 1, number 2, if you're not a true starter, and you can't help on special teams, it's very hard to make the team. It's just it's a trickle-down effect. Now, it's a risk sometimes you take because some of those guys can be very good and they're only 1 play away from being a starter. The problem is they weren't activated that day because they couldn't help on special teams. So you got to wait till next week to do it. Special teams is a big part of it, and if everyone stays healthy, then you want to think all about special teams because the backups will contribute on that. But once you get 1 injury, then that's where you're like, man, I wish I got this guy up, and because now we need him, but you didn't know that till the game started.
Obviously, he's taking advantage of the time that he's had just as a rookie being an undrafted free agent. And if you could just kind of share a little bit, who was most responsible for bringing him on board?
I think it's a great person to talk about. I mean, he's gotten a lot of reps out there with the injuries down and stuff, and I think he's taken advantage of his reps. You know, and there's still 10 more days to go and lots of practice time and 2 games to earn a spot on this team. But if you aren't a hands-down starter on our team, you better be able to contribute to special teams.
Given where the
Responsible for signing him, like which of the scouts scouted him?
I'm not even sure. I mean, we all have a process in that. I mean, we go through, we get a list of a ton of guys that starts very early back to February, and that's what the scouts work on all year round, trying to provide that list. They go ahead and they look at it. Us coaches look at it on our own, and we do that for about a month separately. Then we get together, watch it all together a number of different times, and you just keep talking, and we have a list of guys that we want on our team. We try to guess what rounds that we think we should go after them and who could be available as free agents, but it's very rare that I could ever pinpoint in anything, just remembering who was the one person who wanted a guy, because it's very rare that it's just one person. It's usually a group.
given kind of where this team is, when you think about, or is it fair to say when you look at some position battles, the tie would go to the younger player? I'm thinking like a backup quarterback, the Brooks and Harold. I mean, does that make sense for where this team is, or as a coach, do you have to say we're going to try to win as many games as we can?
I mean, I think you take everything into account. I think everything starts with who gives you the best chance to win. Who gives you the best chance to win in week 1? Who gives you the best chance to win throughout a 16-game season? If guys are tied, or there's one guy who's just a little bit ahead, that's probably the guy we want to start. But if we feel maybe there's a younger guy that if he just gets a few reps, he'll pass that guy up pretty fast, then I would lean towards the other way. I understand the question, especially in our first year, but it's, I mean, you're always thinking about winning now without ever jeopardizing your future. And so you got to balance both of those two things. And, like I said to our team today, I mean, the first thing we look for is who gives us the best chance to win. And after that, it's going to come down to who we believe likes football more, who's out here because they truly enjoy it. We can see, not because they tell us, because we watch how they play, how they work. Guys who really play like their hair's on fire and they enjoy playing football. And if you're like that, I think it's contagious and it helps your team win. And those are the guys I'm going to always side with when it's close.
Have you ever gone 5 wide receivers?
I have before. That's why I took that back. Yeah.
Okay, why did you, I mean, you sound like you regret it.
No, it wasn't that. I mean, it's hard to have a threat of a run when there's 5 wideouts in there. If we can ever get a wideout who's a real good running back and a wide receiver, then it could really put them in a bind. But you put 5 wide receivers on the field, they know you're in a 5-man protection, so they can get their best blitz. They know exactly what you're doing. There's 0 threat of run. So it's.
Defense coordinators should know you could do it again.
Well, yeah, definitely.
It's a couple more.
Katie Sowers, that became a pretty big story yesterday. She did an interview and revealed, she's openly part of the LGBT community. So I just had what do you see in how the players react to her coaching on the field? And imagine they haven't been coached by a woman before. And the second part is, what are your personal feelings about making a hire that's really a landmark, groundbreaking thing in the NFL? She's a pioneer.
Yeah, I think that's neat and I respect that, but that doesn't make me feel any different. If anybody knows me, that has nothing to do with why I would ever make a decision like that. I'm probably the opposite of that. It's very simple. I mean, our receiver coach came to us, Mike LaFleur, came to me a couple weeks ago and asked me how much longer Katie was going to be here, and I told him. He said, man, if there's any way you could keep her on throughout the year, she helps me a lot. She gets along well with the players, the receiver room. The receiver room really respects her. She helps our receiver coach with a lot of his work. And when he asked me that, I like Katie. I like how she handles herself. And she's been great to have around. So when she said she'd be interested in staying throughout the year, it was a pretty easy decision for me.
Carlos, I know it's a small sample size, but Carlos is averaging 2.6 yards a carry for 2 preseason games. What's your level of concern, and how do you diagnose what the issues have been with that first unit and the running game?
Yeah, I just look at what happened on the runs he had. Off the top of my head, I think there's one run in particular that I thought the O-line blocked it for about a 4-yard gain, and he got 1 yard. Just trying to do too much on one play, which happens a lot with a running back. So there's one play, I think he left about 3 yards on the field. After that, his other looks I didn't think were very good. And we got to do better with all 11 guys to get him a chance to improve that yards per carry.
Last one, is that, you mean blocking-wise?
Yeah, it truly takes 11 guys to run the ball, and everything could be. He had a great opportunity on the first play of the game. We were just a hair off for a couple of reasons, and had opportunity to get a big one, and I think he ended up getting 1 yard. It wasn't until play 19 we got the exact same look, and the next time we were just a little bit more on, and he got 7 yards versus same look, and it wasn't much of a difference. It was one step by one player. So that's what football is that not everyone realizes about. It takes 11 guys to execute a play. Usually the guy who has the ball in his hand is the one who's rewarded or blamed. But I've been happy with Carlos's reps in the preseason. Yeah, I definitely want to do better. I want to score every time we call a play. So I'm usually disappointed if it doesn't end in a touchdown. But he's done a good job for us.
What did you see from Hyde during his 3 quality runs at the end of the first half against Denver? He had a 6-yarder, a 7-yarder, and then a 7-yarder. What did you see from him during those 3?
We blocked well, and he got to the right hole. And when contact hit him at 5 yards, he fell for 2 more. So I thought he got exactly what we blocked for and got a little bit more after it.